Quite often at your workplace, or maybe in your personal life as well, you end up pointing out something that is being missed or something that you feel is not the right way, and you feel this huge urge and need to speak up, and you do, only to end up feeling guilty. Why did I say this? Or was that the right thing to do? Yeah. Well, how do you deal with such scenarios? Should you speak up or should you hold back because maybe the stakes are high? Let's dive into this. Hi, I'm Asta Tatia, daughter of two rock solid pillars, mother to a lovely daughter, wife of a humor king, an engineer, MBA corporate executive turned anchor person, now an author and a happiness coach, helping corporate leaders build their happiness muscle by creating powerful, meaningful connections at their workplace. If what you hear today makes sense, resonates with you, then go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you've not done it already. Well, a lot of times situations arise where you are in a meeting and you realize that maybe you have your colleagues, you have your manager, your boss there, and you realize that there is some basic fundamental system which is not being followed, or a process that is being missed out. And as a result, you know, things are not as smooth as they are. So you decide that you are going to be the one to speak up, and you point out that, hey, I think this is not the best thing, or maybe we are missing out on this. And maybe it backfires. They do not like it, it doesn't land very well, or they get offended, and you can sense it in their way of being, in the tone, right? Well, in such a scenario, you tend to think that maybe this wasn't the best decision. I should have kept quiet and not do it. But then there's this other side of you which says, I need to speak because there's a miss out there, right? So what can you do? How do you deal with such a setup? So a couple of things which I want to share as perspectives here, because there's no absolute right or wrong, but definitely they may help smoothen the experience, enhance the whole experience, right? So the first thing is that it is important to speak up for you, which is why you did. So why not? Right now, you may question, while there were 10 other people who may have known, but they did not speak up, they kept quiet, they just went with the flow. Well, that's precisely the point. That's precisely the point. That's what differentiates people. There are a set of people who do not want to take that plunge, do not want to risk the image, the chemistry, the so-called chemistry, while there's this other set of people, which is people like you, who understand what is critical here, what is important here, what is being missed, and you want to bring it to the notice. By all means, do that. Don't hold back your voice, because that is also not going to go down well with you, right? You're not going to feel good about yourself when you don't speak up something that comes to your mind. So sometimes you may just not notice, and it just goes with the flow, and only later you realize. No problem, fine. But when it has come to you and it's bothering you, why not speak up? Now, certain things that you can just be mindful of when you want to share something which you know is missing, and everybody is so much into it that they're not even noticing it, is the first important thing is how you speak up, which also means that you don't occur as a threat to the other person, right? So I just say it in a way that the person feels threatened by my presence. No, that's a big no. That's where the chances of the person getting offended are high. So be mindful, be watchful of, and I'm just going to take an example in a while, but be mindful of how you're saying when you need to say what you need to say. Number one. The other important, number two, you do not get personal. So even if you want to point out somebody's behavior or something that is not being done in the right way, make sure you only point towards the behavior and not get personal about the person, no personal remarks or comments about the person. You may not do it intentionally, but if you're not mindful of, the way you're communicating, it may end up as a personal remark. So that's very, very important. And third, you may just say a thank you once you've said this. So in the beginning, you can seek permission. Hey, there's something that I just wanted to share. Can I do that? So, like a permission in the beginning, and towards the end, once you've shared it, thank you so much for listening. Now, these are just courtesy remarks, but they make a huge difference, right? Number 4, the whole tonality, the ups and downs, and your tone. You've got to watch that big one, big one. Yeah, because that makes like the whole difference. Same word, same language, just your tonality can make entire difference, right? And number 5, yeah, despite all of this, you cannot control how it's going to land on the other person because they are being governed by their belief system. So how they take it is not your responsibility. Your agenda is not to please everybody, not to ensure that everybody likes you. So you have to always weigh the bigger purpose, the larger interest, and if you say that and some people are still not happy, that's okay. That's okay. If you see the way of being has changed, that's okay. This, after doing all of this, it's okay because they are getting triggered because they're coming from their beliefs. Something within them has been triggered. So that's okay. Yeah. So very, very important. Fundamentally, if I suppress my voice and if every time I am scared or I'm unable to draw that courage to just speak up what I feel and I suppress that, that's not going to go down well with me. And my first priority is me. So by all means, speak up. Just that, be mindful of how you're speaking. You're not occurring as a threat, how it's landing there. Like just being mindful, watching your tone for that, right? And within that, bringing in these courtesy remarks of thank you and, in the beginning, seeking permission. Yeah. So, for example, this one occurred very recently. There was a meeting and there were strict, like proper guidelines as to how everybody's going to talk, share, give their feedback. Since we had limited time frame, so it was very, very clear that it's supposed to be straight points, no stories, no conversations, no back and forth. And there were a couple of rounds that had to happen, and somebody who joined in late did not hear all of these detailed instructions and started to talk at length, right? Just a scenario that I'm presenting. Starts to get into stories, starts to ask questions to the other person, gets the feedback. When the person responds, then says, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. When I did this happened, got into his or her own stories. And that's where, I stepped in and I said, hey, I just need to let you know something that maybe you missed out this part, but these are the guidelines that were given. We have paucity of time. And therefore, I'll request you to just keep it very specific, very straight. This is the point. And these were the instructions given, that we do not go back and forth. There are no stories, no explanations, no justifications for anything, just straight, simple points. Right. Now, I don't know how it landed, but I could see an instant shift in the way of being of that person, in the tone. Right. And that's okay. That's okay, because I was courteous. I said my thank you. I was mindful of how it's going to land. And I'm hoping. And after that, after a while, we had our conversation and stuff. But that's okay. So for a moment, what came to me was, how did it land? Should I have said this or not? But the point is precisely this. You've got to say this. 10 people not saying doesn't justify, doesn't mean that you did a wrong thing. Yeah, it's important in the larger interest. And that is what will differentiate you. That is like fundamental. Yeah, I hope this makes sense. I hope somewhere you're resonating, because I can't tell you the number of people that I see who hold back, who say that maybe it was a stupid thing that I did. Oh, the person got offended. And then you go on thinking about it for a while. How many of you resonate with that? So if that's you, then stop it right now. And it takes practice. There's nothing wrong with you, but it's just, stuff here, your own thoughts, how it leaves you feeling, your beliefs around how it should be, which may interfere. But by all means, speak up. Speak up when things are being missed out. Speak up when you think it's not the best thing, not the right thing. And it's critical to the whole process. It is critical to what you're doing, the task at hand, and it's going to suffer as a result, right? Or maybe the quality will suffer. Stakes could be, varied. Speak up, because that way you're being authentic to yourself. You're not holding yourself back, and everybody's watching. And the way you do anything is the way you do everything. This is going to be a demonstration for others and an evidence for you that this is who you are being. Yeah. If this made sense, resonated, go hit the like button, watch this again, right? Write down what you're going to do differently, and subscribe to the channel so that you are able to watch, get access to all the different videos that are posted here. And I'm going to see you in the next one very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.